City Council to order, Tuesday, December 3rd, 2019. Ryan, would you please take the roll?
Councilor Lehman.
Here.
Councilor Marcus.
Here.
Councilor Melich.
Here.
Mayor Clarich.
Here. We'll now move into the truth and taxation public hearing where you as the public can ask us questions about the levy and everything like that. But before we start, I just want to highlight what the process is so everybody's on the same playing field that we are and where we're coming from. And every question will be answered to the best of our ability. We'll work with you on this. Okay, the first thing I think that we all have to understand is, and it's the same as in the school districts, is that you have to certify a preliminary levy earlier in the fall, okay? And when you do certify that, you cannot raise it after that. So most school districts, I can't speak for most municipalities as I'm new to being a mayor, but you don't set it at the bottom level. You set it up where you can still adjust it. You can't make it go higher after you certify the preliminary, but you can lower it. And that's why we're having this meeting tonight about truth in taxation. We're going to take your input, what you think. We're going to look, we'll revisit the budget, and we will make a final certification at the next council meeting. And I am anticipating lowering it at that time, but we will talk about it tonight. The council, Ryan, will take that into consideration. We are working on some things to, our goal right now is to get it back to the levy where it was last year. But I should let you know right now, that doesn't necessarily mean your personal taxes are going to go down. As the city assessor, or the county assessor can come in and raise the value of your house, and that can be raised even though you've done nothing to your house. I do believe sales of houses nearby you can affect your valuation and for the city. Correct, Ryan?
Correct.
Yeah, I mean this kind of taxation 101. I hate to do that to you right now, but I want everybody to understand where we're coming from and what we're doing and what powers we have and what we can do to change everything. So I'm trying to give you what our philosophy is. I don't want to see the taxes go up. I'm not going to shy away. Mine went up personally $900 for the city of Buhl. So I'm in the same boat as everybody. I researched it a little bit. I know what the reason was, and we'll get into that for you. We'll answer your questions. But just so that you know, necessarily that if we set the levy at last year's rate doesn't necessarily mean that that's going to lower your taxes or keep them the same. Some might get lowered, some might stay the same, but others could still go up due to the valuation of your house. Maybe there's some remodeling done. Maybe the assessor came through and you were one of the houses that got assessed. So that's just some basic information that I want to put out there first so that you know. And then I will probably have the questions asked towards Ryan. Ryan will answer them. We will chime in up here with maybe questions of our own or clarification if you're not clear. But we want to make sure that when everybody leaves here tonight, you're satisfied that we are working for the best interests of you as taxpayers and for the welfare of the city. So that's what we're trying to do right now. So the first thing I think we're going to do is, Ryan, we did have a percentage increase of across the board of about 27%. Was that the number?
Correct.
Okay. And a big reason for that was after we certified the levy, we had budget meetings or budget updates every meeting going through various aspects of this went up, that went down, we held the line on this for every line item in our budget. It was adopted by this council. We looked at it. We're aware of that. Some of the areas went up. As always, wages and benefits will go up, but then we looked at cutting some other ones back. But the number one cause of the large increase, and council, please correct me if I'm wrong, and Ryan, is the bill for heating the school. We are currently going to research and search out getting that funded. We're going to a meeting tomorrow. We're going to try to get that taken care of, and if that's successful, then when we certify the levy in a couple of weeks, that big number will be taken off, and Ryan might have the number of what we're going to budget for that's going into the levy that you had proposed to you, and there are some other areas. If you want to question or ask what's going on, we will answer that. But the big ticket item on our taxes, and I say our because I'm a taxpayer, same as you, is that we set aside dollars, and they had to come out of the general fund, out of the taxpayers, to pay to maintain the school through the rest of this winter, and that's from January 1st, the utilities through the end of June. And we're going to be going to a meeting tomorrow and hopefully trying to get some funding to make that work. So that's just my intro. I could open it for questions. Ryan, do you have any comments that you'd like to just surmise or
Sure.
go through with everyone?
Sure. I mean, as far as the city's concerned and how it relates to your property taxes, currently the city's levy is $90,000 more than it was set in 2019, so $440,000. And like the mayor alluded to, we are exploring options to reduce that big kind of ticket item in our budget. And I just want to mention, and this is not the easiest thing to explain, but what's unique about cities like Buhl and others that are in the taconite tax relief area, there is a formula that is used specifically in the taconite area, and also the metro cities have another one. It's called fiscal disparities. And essentially it's a pool of money that is taxed from each kind of unit of government within that specific area and then redistributed elsewhere. So some years we benefit from that, other years we don't. This is an email we got from one of the tax analysts at St. Louis County. So basically what he told us is for 2020, the city of Buhl is receiving roughly $8,500 less in fiscal disparity funds. And the net tax capacity for the city dropped by $17,500. So basically what that means is last year the tax rate in Buhl was set at 79.895%. And this year is 125.05%. So if you look at your property tax statements kind of as a whole, not just the city, that's where you're probably seeing the big, $600, $700, $800 jump if you look at your statements. The only control the city of Buhl has on your property taxes is our levy. And like I said, the mayor outlined, it's set about 27% higher than last year as the preliminary levy. And we hope to get it back down closer to that levy amount of $350,000 that was set last year. Diana, if you have anything else to.
You explained it very well.
So, fiscal disparities, it's a complicated process that is controlled entirely by St. Louis County. I would urge residents or anybody else, if they have questions on that, I would call the county because they're the experts on this formula.
And that involves mines?
What's that?
Does that involve the mines? The tax relief from the mines? No, it has nothing to do with that.
That's a little bit. Fiscal disparities is kind of separate from the mining companies. I mean, if you look it up in the internet, League of Minnesota Cities has the big, it's like a 100-page document, to be completely honest with you, that goes kind of parcel by parcel and calculates it somehow. I mean, since I started and Diana's been here we've asked hundreds and hundreds of questions trying to find a way to explain how fiscal disparities work to residents. I mean, because we'd like to be able to try to explain it too. It's, if you read the things if you go League of Minnesota Cities website, right in their first kind of sentence, it's a confusing kind of complicated process that's unique to areas within the taconite relief area and also the metro cities. So it's not a straightforward process by any means, and it changes based on a whole variety of reasons. Economic development in certain areas declining, like you saw, our Buhl's net tax capacity decreased by $17,500 for 2020. Those are all factors that go into the overall calculations on your property taxes.
Fiscal disparities is a moving target every year. And there are regions in the taconite tax relief area, remember that extends from Grand Rapids down to Aiken, up over to Hoyt Lakes to the North Shore, and then up just north of us here up to Ely. And it was said a lot. Now, there's always been winners and losers in this. Basically, where we live, the Iron Range has been a winner overall. Losers in this have been like the cities of Grand Rapids on the fringe there where there's no active mining going on. I think potentially Crosby and Aiken down in that area too. But the core range, I think overall has been a core winner. But after that, you can have little fluctuations in there that happen year to year, and it's a bump in the road. And like I said, we're going to try to smooth this out as much as we can. As once again, we will set the final levy 2 weeks from now, and we're going to take in all the input we get from you. A couple of things that we're trying to change up tomorrow and in future meetings before the next council meeting. So we're out there hustling on this, trying to get this down to as close as we can to last year's levy, if not at that levy. We're looking at every stone will be turned over on this one. I mean, I have to give hats off to Diane and Ryan as they've made these presentations to the city council. They've gone through line item if we've asked for it. They've looked at it and they've had a 5-year history. And some of the things we've cut, some of the areas we've cut down. Others we just had to naturally increase them due to either through negotiations or things out of our control, fuel costs, things like that we've looked. So we've looked everywhere we can to hold the line where we can and still provide the great service. I still think we have great service in this town between the plowing and the maintaining of the cemetery and then the parks and everything else like that. So I'm satisfied with that. So we want to maintain that. We want to maintain it at an appropriate cost to all of the taxpayers. So with that,
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
There was someone who had a question.
Okay, I was just going to open up for questions.
I'm sorry, I thought you were, when you brought up the snow plowing, that's another thing I think that bothers some of us, because our road is not maintained by the city. But yet, that's part of what we're paying taxes for.
The bottom line is, Elaine, is that your road is a private road, your association owns that. We don't own that. It's just like going in.
You pay taxes for.
You pay taxes for the services, but you're not assessed for that road from us because we don't do it.
We don't get no service out of it because they raised our city raised the taxes up to a little over 70%.
Well, we didn't. The county did.
No, it's the city, right? Buhl City says 70% actually went up.
Okay. And that's what we're working on to get that back down.
Yeah.
Okay, so we hear you. But that is a private road. I've looked into that, and that was an agreement that was made way back when that development was built up and developed and the road put in, is that they did not want the service. I've been approached about what would it take to get on that, and that would take a negotiation between the association and our attorney. And because there are liabilities that we don't want to take on. That's a private road. It's just like we don't go and do private driveways or anything that's private. We have to stay public. And so we've looked at that, but that would have to come from the association approaching the city that they'd like to. But then there's some negotiation that have to take place, and a contract would have to be put in place that would rescind the original agreement. And I don't know what the new agreement would say or do. I mean, that all have to be negotiated.
So it would be between the association and the city?
Yes.
To have
that plowed by the city. We can't go in there. It's private property.
I mean, the contract would have to be made up between the association and the city.
Yes.
I don't think that road can handle our equipment,
Well, it wasn't made.
to handle the weight of
Yeah.
city's equipment.
Well, when we've had some bad snowstorms, I mean, I know we took the loader or we took the plow or the grader in there just to help out Paul or whoever's doing your snow. Because we knew that, but the road is froze. So, I mean, the loader and the grader or the plow is not going to crack your road. We have done that a few times, during, actually like snow like this, but, 10 years ago, I wanted to build right where Jim and Joanne built the house just a couple months ago. And actually, the lots that they're on, I wanted to go and build my house there. And I was gonna do an attached garage, but I wanted to put a garage in the back, but I needed access to come in there from the association, because they own like 20 feet of north of the road. Even though we mowed it, the association still owns it. And I was denied access just to make a driveway into the lot up on top of the hill, but the association owns it. I mean, there's nothing.
So we'd have to have an agreement with you, and that'd have to be legal and approved not only by the association, but then by the council and whatever ramifications might come from that. Once again, if we were to go in there right now and tore up someone's yard or something happened down there, the city'd be liable. We can't take that on. I mean, we're wide open on that. So I hope that answered your question. I'm not sure, but.
Yeah, somewhat, I
Okay.
guess. I think I've heard this before, so
Okay.
I know what you're saying.
Okay.
So anyhow, like John says, the mayor says that tomorrow we'll have a lot of answers, and if something doesn't materialize there, we're gonna have to restructure. I mean, it's not gonna be what, the bottom line is gonna be less, because I think we can structure it a little bit differently on, for the budget. That's my thought, but.
Well, we'll have to put pencil to paper, and we may have to reduce some other things, to help reduce it if we don't get the relief we're looking for. And then I hate to bring this up, but we may end up having to mothball that building eventually, and not provide the heat and the utilities to it, which really lent itself towards further deterioration. But we're just trying now to buy the utilities, buy down, and then which ultimately will buy down the taxes for everyone. But to preserve it until we get until June, we've already told the person that we have our real estate person to step up and see if there's anybody out there. We're getting a lot of reports that we have a lot of people interested, but they don't have the dollars to come up and do this. But we're working with several groups trying to make it happen. So, but ultimately, the city is responsible for heating that building and providing all the utilities to it. And that was the reason that your taxes have gone up so much. And we are going to do everything we can to get those taxes reduced by that amount that we're going to put back into the school, and try, like I said, try everything we can to get back to last year's levy, which still does not mean that everybody will get a reduction. One thing you should notice, if you look at your tax statement, first thing you should look at is what was your assessed value of the previous year and what's your assessed value this year. See if it went up. I don't believe mine went up, to be honest with you.
Mine didn't either.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be up in the next year. It's in a cycle.
Yeah, mine did too.
But now the school district, their tax for you should have gone way down. I mean, you can probably look at me, but my last year there, we had some one-time costs that came by that were one-time cost only, that were paid off last year, and that's why the school levy, and we couldn't delay that any further anymore. So that's why last year's levy was a little bit higher for the school. This year, mine was down about 30-some%, I think. And then the county, I think the county was about 8% for me, increase. So, but we were the big increase, and I can't spit off the top. I said the bottom line, the whole thing for me was a 27% increase. But like I said, I got a reduction at the school level, a major increase at the city, like I said, $900, and I think about $100, $125 at the county level. So that's where we're at. If anybody has any questions about individual things that the city runs, operates, or does that you wish to know about, you certainly can ask. We have Diana and Ryan both here to answer that. I hope that we've kind of let you know that what we're after here right now is we're looking aggressively to reduce that levy as far as we can take it down.
How did you calculate the levies? I mean, is it a certain percentage of the value of your home?
Well, I mean, number one, the city doesn't set the value of your home.
I
mean,
understand
yeah.
that, but how did you?
Or the rate.
How did you come up with the dollar amount? So my taxes for the city of Buhl are going up over $700. And my parents who live 2 blocks up the street from me only went up $100.
Sure, let me just try to clarify. You mentioned a 70% increase in cities. So both Diane and I have seen from every end of the spectrum within the city of Buhl. The city individually does not go in and look at each residential parcel and set it a certain way. The county sets that, and that ties into this whole fiscal disparities thing. So your city portion might have jumped up, 70% like you said. Your neighbor across the alleys may have decreased, or vice versa, and the county adjusts like that. The city's number as far as their levy, that doesn't change. It's set at preliminary 440,000. It's basically how the county's kind of dispersing that pool of funds that shows the effect on your taxes.
Basically, when we set those budgets, when Diana is giving us the numbers for that budget, we came up with that 440,000. That included that big increase down there. That's all we do. We send that number to the county. The county disseminates the tax. They have to do that based on the formulas that they have, whether you're a homestead house, a business, whatever within the city. And there's a formula for that, and that's calculated, and that's how you come up with your individual tax for your home. And the only thing that we do is we set the preliminary levy, which we send on to the county to then figure out how they're going to have the taxes get distributed back to us equitably, by the way. And I'll tell you what, you can run the full gamut on house values in this community, from property $5,000 and $10,000 all the way up to, I'm sure, a couple $100,000, and then the formula is applied to that. And what we're trying to do then is reduce that 440,000 we have, so that the county redistributes that tax to every individual homeowner, and it should go down about equally for what your tax was by how much we reduce it. There's a cause and effect there. So as much as we reduce it, that will influence everybody's house, but not the same. So if you mentioned you paid $700, I'm paying $900, mine might go down $150, you might go down $125, or vice versa. I mean, I don't know. It's based on that in every house. We'll still have to come up with a number that we set, that we lower that levy to and certify in 2 weeks. And what we're saying is, what was the last one, 350,000? We're trying to get as close to $350,000 as we can. But like I said, because of house values going up, being reassessed, things of that nature, it could be different for different people.
Yeah,
But I understand what she's saying, because I've seen some people's tax statements. Their market value didn't go up. And they weren't taxed nothing.
Exactly.
It never changed. Ours are the same, and ours went up.
Yeah,
And she's asking,
and
why is a couple doors down, the market value never changed, and their taxes didn't go up?
that's a county.
Well, I know,
you have to talk to the county. That's above our pay grade.
I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, there's been other people in town that have had the same problem. The county, I don't know how they do it or what they do, but a certain amount of people, it goes up. I mean, there's a friend of mine that was talking to me about it. I got $500 on him, and that's just, the county, they're crazy.
system.
It's no way to talk about your employer.
Yes.
But you're right, I don't understand why,
They should be able to,
I mean, they should have went up just like the rest of us.
yeah.
Yeah, they didn't, the value didn't change. I mean, why is theirs $30 that went up and ours is, you know,
Well, the county's buying all them new snow truck next year, 50.
There goes the-
100, whatever it was.
Well, no, we'll, yeah, I wish I could answer that. I'm not that knowledgeable in how the county distributes the tax.
Yeah,
And I'm not saying it's evenly done.
It's not.
no,
Yeah, I mean,
I agree with you.
because we're all getting the same service. I know Jim and I have had this conversation for years, that we still, the garbage is picked up on such and such a date, the water, we're receiving the water, we're getting the snow plowing, maintaining the parks in the cemetery, but,
That's right, there's some towns in the state that are actually eliminating assessments. So when you do your street, you gotta pay the extra $25 a foot. And so if you have 100 feet, you're billed $2,500. I mean, that's doing the assessment thing. Well, a lot of towns pulled out of that. I looked into it a few years ago, but I haven't looked in the last couple of years. I haven't looked back into it. But if that street costs $100,000, everybody pays $20 more a year for that street instead of you guys paying $2,500 for your 100 feet. And that's what happens with the system now. But there's a lot of towns in the state that actually have pulled out of that. I said that from day one. This was way back in the heyday, and just bill everybody. When you do Whiteside or Woodbridge, don't just penalize the people on the block, because everybody got to use that street sometime or another. You tax everybody, and everybody. $20 is different, because what happens, you guys that are assessed on that block, you're paying, say, the 15% of the total project. Well, the bill still comes back to the rest of the town, the other 80 or 85%. We still, people are paying, but why penalize the people that just live on that block is stupid. But I'm gonna look into see if we can just pull out of that, because right now we're at the point where some of the streets that were assessed and they're still being assessed, and people are paying their $25 a foot. We're almost done with that. I think we have one more year on Grant Street or Wanlis or wherever.
That's done.
Yeah.
We have two that have both.
So if we go back to, say you guys get a new street, well, everybody pitches in $20 a year. Instead of, 10 people paying $2,500 for, you have up to 10 years to pay that, or pay it up front.
well, we'll use that to try and control in the future, but now we have this elephant in the room right now. And we told you what the issue is, and we're trying to, and we're gonna do everything we can to get that back down. That's the major thing that increased our levy. Am I not correct, Ryan? That's a big portion of it.
I just want to make the note too. You saw your city portion go up substantially. Even if the city had set their preliminary level the same as it was last year, there's a good chance your city portion on your property tax statement is still going to rise. That's because how the county does this formula is basically the point I was trying to get at. I know it's kind of hard to understand. Sometimes we pull our hair out too, because no one can explain it well enough to us. But like I said, if we get our levy number back to 350, chances are you're still going to see a jump in your city portion of the taxes.
But it shouldn't be as high.
No.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't be as high, but you can,
There'll still be an increase because we're getting less fiscal disparities for 2020.
yeah.
And our net tax capacity also decreased, so.
Yeah, monies we had coming in from elsewhere, from the government or from the mining effects.
Decreasing. So we have less revenue coming in. So that's another reason why the levy.
We'll go up something, but we don't know.
Disparity was about 35,000 a year or two ago. we had to throw that in there.
We keep losing, it keeps decreasing. The last 3 years it's decreased, it keeps
Yeah.
going down.
Is that a trend across the whole taconite tax relief? I'm assuming it is, and it's different in every community.
Right.
Okay. We're open to any other concerns or questions, or I hope we stated what we're trying to do to get these back to a reasonable level. And like I said, we're fighting to get back to what the levy was last year. Hopefully we can make that happen. It starts by the meeting we're having tomorrow. We'll have a couple more meetings after that. Maybe look at some things internally maybe we can adjust to. So, but that's where we're coming from. Last chance, anybody? You know, and in 2 weeks we'll set the final number, and hopefully you're back. We can give you some awful good news.
And just a note too, I mean, Diane and I at City Hall are always willing to help and try to find you any information we can. I mean, I have how many printouts that I've read, and if you read them too, you'll be scratching your head kind of just like us. So, but, you know, we do the best we can. And
Another thing, every spring now, we have an assessment meeting where you can come in and
County's here.
the county is here, and you can come and ask these questions, and we post when the meeting's gonna be. Is that in April?
yeah, it's the local board of
Usually it's in
appeals and
April. Yeah,
equalization.
they're here, and they will listen to your concerns just about your property, how much it went up, what's being taken out, why it's being taken out. That would be a good learning experience if it's still an issue with you after we finalize the levy in 2 weeks. But it's open to the public, and we sit here, and the county's here. We have a group here, and the questions can be everything from why am I being assessed, how come so and so over, they can't compare number, you know, it's still public data, you can find that out on the web, but it's just that's a good meeting to come to and ask questions if you have some that linger from what happens through this process this year. Ryan, do we have to take a formal action to close the meeting, or we just move on?
It's just right into.
Well, last chance if anybody has anything, otherwise we're going to move on to the next section of our meeting. And thank you for attending, and once again, like Ryan and Diana said, please come in if you still are confused about anything, or if you have a question, we'll try to work with you as best we can. Thank you for attending. Okay. We'll move on to number 4, reports from department heads. Public Works. Trent, you're up.
Yeah, well, you're more than welcome to stay, otherwise we'll let you get out of the room, no problem.
Guess we're not as popular anymore.
Actually got the people there.
I'm paying these meetings or something. Listen, because my tax went up $4,000 because I built a big house on my cabin. Oh, man, I'm getting sworn at and threatened. And
Yeah, I seen some of them, you know, like people didn't, the market value stayed the same and nothing.
Yeah, that's not right, yeah.
No, that's not right.
Trent, you're up.
Let you guys keep talking, but today I met with McGuire Iron. They're the ones that have basically done all the water. I'm still looking for quotes on the water tower, but start with that. But McGuire Iron, they're the ones that have done all the work for us over the past like 30 plus years. And I contacted them a long time ago, but they've been so busy with it. I finally got in like 2 or 3 weeks ago and did an inspection on just their own inspection to come up with the idea of what they thought we need to do with the
Water tank.
And I've gotten other quotes from other places, but McGuire Iron, they're the cheapest, but they still believe that it needs a full renovation, and they're the ones that have done the touch-ups, so we're kind of looking at to see if maybe we could just get a touch-up, and not a single place has even considered it as a possibility. So we're looking at having to do a full I can't think of the word right now, but
Rebuild?
rehabilitation on the outside, you have to, because it's got lead-based paint, it has to be contained.
Now, did we go out for bids yet, or do we have to now go out
I've
for
already
bids?
told the guy that because of this, we're not even gonna get into it next year because of budget purposes and everything like that. So we're not gonna be doing it next year, but I strongly suggest that we probably go with these guys. And I would like, he's gonna try to put all the numbers together and put a presentation together before the end of the year. And I'd like for you guys all to.
You mean the end of this year we're in right now, 29th?
Yes,
So
that's just-
we only have one more meeting this month.
I know, but I'm talking for just a different just gathering if it's possible for, we had one with,
Okay.
During the day.
Oh,
just during the day, something that.
oh, not a formal council meeting?
Yeah,
Oh,
correct.
okay, no problem with that.
Just for a,
I'd like to sit in on that, okay.
yeah, just to give you guys some information because the paint's not in good shape. And
Well, we're gonna have to maintain it, just a matter, we gotta get a rough idea so that we can plan for it.
and just the rough.
Money's tight too, so we've
Yeah,
got,
exactly,
Look,
that's why I told
okay.
them that's not gonna happen next year, but just to get a rough estimate, they were at about 170,000 for doing all that, which is actually significantly cheaper than the other different places.
What are you doing down
Sorry.
okay, so that's good. We need a rough number to go with and see where we're at. Now, we're in no danger of anything failing right now, correct?
Not right now.
Okay.
But it's something
We do have to take care of within a couple of years, okay.
Yes.
Is a structural steel on that tank good?
Yes.
It's just a matter of sandblasting and repainting.
Correct.
Pretty much, right?
Last time they pressure washed it, then a lot of paint flaked off, but they painted it, it was fine. They didn't sandblast it, they just
How
pressure washed it.
many years ago was that, John, do you remember?
Well, it'd be almost 10.
10 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty good for just a power wash, rather than a...
Yeah, but I mean, there was, a lot of paint on the ground and whatever, but, and then we did the inside too, they epoxied the inside.
Can that be done over 2 years?
What's that?
Can that possibly be done over 2 years, the rehabilitation of that tank? Or is that a question for them?
I'd probably be.
Or do they don't want to, is it cheaper to do it all at once?
It's cheaper just to do it all
Okay,
at once.
that's what I-
Because what it is, what you do is you do a containment because it's got the lead-based paint.
Okay.
Yeah, you
So
shut it
because
down
of
and-
environmental stuff, it's gotta be all contained and
Okay,
collected, and then from there you sandblast it and then paint it. So that all has to be done in one shot. And then there's other things that need to be done, but that can be done over time.
we have to have somebody that comes in and checks the lead paint to give us an all clear too, right? A separate company.
Oh, they do all that
Oh,
stuff.
they do that?
Yeah.
Okay,
That's why I just thought, if he does, he's gonna try to get it together soon. And if he is able to do it this year, I'd really appreciate if you guys were to come just to give you more information, because he's gonna be way better explaining it than I'm gonna be able to.
that sounds good. We may have to have two presentations because we can't be,
Yeah.
violate the open meeting law, so.
Yeah.
Okay, what else do you have after that great news?
This is something we kind of knew was coming, but whatever. The guy with the cameras, I've been talking with him, having talks with him. We're gonna start trying to install some wire and everything starting tomorrow. We're hoping. I don't know, it's been a hectic past few weeks, so I haven't even been able to get to it.
Way below zero next week,
I know, and I'm gonna
about
have to
Tuesday or Wednesday, I think.
installing wire in that temperature, so I'm not excited about it. And
Okay.
one of the things I have to do is climb the water tower and run wires for that, so I'm not looking forward to that either, especially if I have to do it next week.
Have a harness.
Yep.
We should check in and see what they would cost for them to do it, the water tank part of it.
I can talk to him, but I'm not overly excited about having to do that, because
Well,
I'm fine with the heights, it's just having to work on the side, I don't know.
What happened to the rookie having to do all that? Okay.
Just to give you an idea, our sander truck broke down, so that's why we haven't been sanding the streets recently. What went out on it is the fuel injection control module, which I guess is common with those trucks. And so it's actually relatively expensive for that replaced, just to get the OEM part. And so Rich with our car, they're the ones doing the repair, they're gonna look at for a much cheaper one from a junkyard to put it in there, so that's what we're looking at the moment. So once that gets fixed, we'll be up and running, but.
Okay.
And then I don't know if you want me to talk about in the school, some of the work Jamar's been doing. We've had problems with the condensation pumps for heating it, and they got in there yesterday, and put the pumps in, but we're having power issues, and we figured out the power issues, but then we ended up having some broken steam lines that we had to have them fixed today. They were going through and they're able to get some places that are heating, they had to, it was pressure or vapor locked in some areas, and traps are stuck, and so they've been going through there, and the heat's.
Actually, a little red infrared thing we got down at the shop.
Yeah.
You can put that on this pipe going into the radiator, and you can see the temperature going out, and it should be different. I mean, you don't have to take them apart. You can just.
Oh, you can just feel it's.
Well, you can take that light too. That's what we used to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then if a trap's bad, it's just it's same temperature.
The guys that are in there right now, they're pretty knowledgeable, and they've gotten some stuff working, but then on those condensate pumps, some of the connectors are bad, and so they have to replace those too. So it's I'm not gonna lie, it's been a headache for me.
It's a necessary evil, unfortunately, so. Okay. Anything else? You've been pretty busy plowing and.
That's enough, go home.
Yeah.
Okay. It's been a rough few weeks.
Okay. Well, winter's just coming in now, so.
Hopefully the winter's done.
Yeah, okay.
Are you experiencing people not parking on the right side or counter parking? You getting some of this?
Today we handed out a bunch of parking tickets because we just had enough of it.
Sure.
I've noticed there were some when I took a ride around town today, they've been there since Friday.
Yep.
They haven't made an attempt, so that's good. I mean, that's why I have that process.
That's right.
And people, they have
Good question.
trailers, they're not even supposed to be out there, if I'm correct, and they're a real big problem down here right now.
Well, after so long, we tow.
Yeah, there's some that probably should be towed.
Well, we'll take a look at that later. It's only Tuesday this week, so. Yeah. Any other questions from the council for Trent? If not, thank you, Trent. Good report. Fire and ambulance. Stuart, do you have anything you can update us with?
We had a quick meeting last night, but nothing.
Okay. Engineering, is there anything we have? Nothing?
No, we just have that pay
Yeah, you just
estimate
did that,
on the
so.
agenda.
The attorney is not here. Long-range planning and zoning, they still haven't met, have they, or?
No, we're working on that.
Okay, because I know there's an issue that we have out there that we want to get to. The recreation board, we don't have one, correct?
Nope.
Okay, that makes that easy. We do have something about the skating rink coming up in a little bit. Library board, we just had minutes not too long ago. If there's anything we have to bring up there. BETA. We aren't going to meet this month, and we reported on the last meeting, so it's kind of not much there, unless John or Stuart, if there's anything, or Ryan, you want to add?
There wasn't much on the meeting.
No, just kind of status quo.
Moving along,
for now.
yeah. We just got a sheriff's report. There wasn't really a lot of big ticket crime issues, but nuisance type things or calls, and so that's nice to see.
Yeah, total of 34 calls for the month, so.
The biggest one was serving warrants. I think there were 4, something like that. That was the biggest. Okay, we'll move to Jay, clerk. Ryan?
Trent touched on most of the things I was going to mention. The only other thing, the city did submit their request to CDBG for kind of an overall improvements with front entrance and steps at City Hall, plus the roof, looking at some ADA compliance issues too. And then shortly, I've been talking to our USDA rep, and hopefully to offset the rest of that cost if we do receive something from CDBG to just try to get most of it paid for through grant dollars. So.
And that process starts in January with
Yep.
the community block grant, so. And we'll know by, within a couple months, so that'd be nice and shore up this front a little bit if we can and come up with a long-range plan. Is that it, Ryan?
That's it.
Okay, Central Iron Range Sanitary Sewer District, John, we had a meeting a while back. We don't have one till January, correct?
I guess we might have a, executive board meeting
Okay.
in this month, but Norm hasn't said anything.
Okay. Well, that takes care of reports from department heads. We'll now move on to council additions to the agenda. I do have one that I'd like to add, and that would be 8F, and that's approve the financial consulting agreement. And that's routine, and we'll just make that 8F. Is there a motion to add, or to approve the agenda with that addition, excuse me?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, motion by Stuart. Is there support?
Support.
Support by John. Further comment or discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion's carried. Citizens Forum. Well, Linda, unless you're going to speak, we're moving on. Number 7, consent agenda. The minutes. A, regular city council meeting of November 19th, 2019. And then B, claims. Payroll number 24, $9,953.92. Yeah, I got that. And payroll 24.01 is $1,459.20. November PR $1,850, and then accounts payable $37,791.40 for a grand total of $51,054.52. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda with all of those claims?
Also move that we approve the minutes of November 19th and the claims of $51,054.52.
Okay, motion by John. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Jim. Further comment or discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. That motion is carried. Move on to the business portion of the agenda, and that is JPJ final estimate number 3, Seville Whiteside discussion, and then approve or reject. Ryan, do you just want to lead us into that then real quick?
Sure. I mean, this is just the final pay estimate for the Seville Whiteside the Alley project that happened last year. Kind of the reason this is coming to the council later than usual is the city, on the advice of our engineer, we're holding off until a few issues were addressed and completed to how we wanted them. So this was all part of that overall project, nothing extra.
That was resident concerns about some things that were done,
Correct.
and those have all been resolved, I'm assuming? Okay.
Resolved, and they are.
And the amount is $6,126.85, correct?
Correct.
To Utility Systems of America?
Weren't you supposed to cap that alley?
That's what they were using was with that mill feed.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, that's fine, but I thought you were gonna put something on top of that. Oh, okay.
Okay. Is there a motion then to approve that payment of $6,126.85 to Utility Systems of America?
Also move.
Moved by Stuart. Is there support? I'll support that. Further comment or discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion is carried. Okay. 8B, CDs, discussion. Okay. This is something that we've been working with you, Diana, correct?
Correct.
And it sounds like we can get a stronger interest rate in a couple months, because it is weakening at the point. So if we were to cash out right now and reconfigure now, that would take a bump out of the road away from us, correct?
Yes.
And so that we would have an interest rate of 1.05%, is that correct?
Yes.
Which isn't bad. I mean,
No.
for right now, and I don't know what the future holds, because rates have been dropping. And those are 2 CDs that we have, one from the electric department, one from the sewer department. One is for current value of $123,027.29. That's one in the electric department. And the sewer department has one for $86,545.87. Is there a motion to approve redoing our interest rates and with our CDs?
Just a comment, city can't invest the money in the market to make it big time or lose it all, because we're restricted from our investments, right? Right. Yeah, just to let people know that 1%, well, that's about as good as you get with city money.
You can't beat that rate anywhere.
No, I know, but I mean, you can't pull it out and go into.
You can't invest in a stock or something,
yeah.
so. There may be a correction in that stock market anyway, so. Okay, is there a motion to approve the action for that?
I'll make a motion that we
Okay,
approve.
motion by John. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Jim. Okay, and when will that take place? Immediately?
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions or concerns for Diana?
Yeah, what, these CDs, now, actually, what would they be used for, this money? I might see electric department, sewer department, what would we use that for? Or where'd this money come from?
As you can see in the memo, I mean, it's been sitting there for quite a few years.
Yeah.
Originally, it was back in '06, I believe.
Well, 95 for
95,
electric,
yeah, okay.
06 for sewer.
So, like, for this big infrastructure project coming up, if we needed money for the sewer, I mean, that's something we could use that CD for.
It's a rainy day fund, so to speak?
Yes.
Okay.
An electric, if you need to do something.
It's there, and if not, it helps with cash flow.
Right, it's better just than sitting in a
Okay.
checking account, not really earning much.
Perfect.
And
That's earning a lot as far as I'm concerned, I'll tell you.
There's a percent that, like the electric fund has some money, and there's a percent that the city could actually use someplace else if needed to be.
Now, one thing we are doing here, that's right. No, that CD's at the Bank of Buhl, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and so we'll just make the transfer right in there.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, we have a motion support, right?
Yes.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign, motion's carried. Rink attendance, okay, Ryan, I'll let you just speak to that one, it's pretty simple.
Yeah, basically we had only 3 people apply to be rink attendants. The deadline was 28th or something like that. I'd just like to extend it more to hopefully get a few more workers so we can have that open for residents, kids, and whoever else. So just asking for an extension on that.
I will make that motion to keep the posting open till what, 16th, did you say? I don't have my open.
16th.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there support?
I'll support.
Okay, motion by Cleric, support by Stewart. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign, motion carried. Next is the Christmas lighting contest, which is an annual type thing. Ryan, do you just want to highlight that for the public, please?
Yep, basically every year what the recreation board does, there's recreation board members, they have a Christmas lighting contest. Basically they pick 5 winners for $50 a piece to show their holiday spirit, I guess. So just looking for an authorization to use $250 from their budget for this. Those will be judged by a group of either current, former members. Will get a group together that'll go around town and pick some winners.
Okay. Is there a motion?
If you're on the council, do you automatically win?
No.
You're eliminated. Conflict of interest.
City employees or council members are not eligible to
Participate. Okay, that's okay. Is there a motion to approve the Christmas lighting contest with the prizes?
Make a motion.
Motion by Stewart. Is there support?
Support.
Support by John. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion's carried. I made a little bit of a mistake here, so we're going to skip E and go to F, the interim financing, which is standard operating procedure for a big project like this, I believe. And now the one thing that we're going to do is that we're going to be looking that if we need interim financing for the big projects coming up, that we go out and we look for a group to handle that transaction for us. Now, we're going to try to work with the city of Buhl, but we're going to go where we get the best rates, correct?
Correct.
So what we're talking about now is Northland Securities, but Buhl gets first shot, the first
Correct.
National Bank of Buhl gets first shot. If they're the winner for us, then we'll go with them. If not, we have to go to conserve the dollars for the city as best we can on this project. Ryan, is there anything else you'd like to summarize? I've just really given it a once-over, but is there anything?
I mean, just to note, the cost of the interim financing was already built into the project. That's in that total $5+ million. It is reimbursable, like the mayor said. We want to, as much as possible, that makes sense from the city, try to keep it with the First National Bank of Buhl. But we do need to be aware of the bottom line. But again, there's communication from Northland Securities. The city has worked with them in the past, and so has JPJ and Don Jamnick. So basically, we're just looking for approval for the consulting agreement.
When do we go out to look for that? After the project starts, when the project's in, when we get a little bit better handle where the finances are, or is that something we set up early?
From our meeting with George, there's kind of two options. We could have this interim financing in place right before the project, or we could look a couple months prior to, just to have it on hand. And basically the main reason for this is it keeps the city out of cash flow problems.
So we should watch the market then about rates.
Yeah.
In case there's I think if anything, they're gonna probably be going down, so probably might wanna wait a little bit, but they're pretty low right now. So.
Yeah, and you're only, basically you're only paying interest on what you withdraw at a time, not the overall amount. So the cost is minimal. Like I said, it was built into the project cost. It's just a requirement.
It's no cost to us or our taxpayers.
Yep.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the interim financing plan, I guess, for lack of a better word, with First National Bank of Buhl being first choice, and then after that, it goes out to the market?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, motion by Stewart. I will support that motion. Further discussion or questions from the council to Ryan?
I have a question. This USDA loan, why wouldn't that be expedited so we wouldn't have to get interim financing? I mean,
It's the federal government. That's how they operate.
Yeah, that's how they're.
You have to wait for your money. It's
basically how the USDA, the Rural Development Program, works is you have to draw down your loan amount and then after that you'll access your grant dollars. I don't have an exact answer for you. It's just the way that they have it set up where it's not available like that.
And it's not that speedy. I mean, it's a process, unfortunately. But that's how big business and big government operate.
A good example why this is a good idea to have is especially last year after the government shutdown. So obviously we don't want to halt the project at a standstill. It's going to cost us a lot more in the long run. That interim financing obviously keeps us working towards completion of that project if an event like that occurred.
Then we should secede from the union, we'd get billions as a foreign entity.
He might bomb us out of existence.
Like Mary Anderson and Kinney did.
Yeah, she worked a miracle there, I'll tell you.
We'd get billions, not a few million, right?
You want to declare war, go ahead. Okay, all those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, those opposed, same sign, motion's carried. Okay, now we'll go back to 8E, other business council comments. Jim, do you have anything?
No.
I'll skip to you, Stuart.
Took part in Rand's meeting on last Thursday. Whatever it was. Had a guy from Minnesota Power talking about the rate increase and where it's at and what going forward. So, that's about it.
Okay, John?
Well, just follow up on that statement. I mean, corporate Minnesota, our corporate United States got a big tax break. And every one of them said that we're gonna give our people a rate deduction because we're gonna, we got all this money back. We're not paying any taxes on our money anymore. Well, and then the next day the paper, Minnesota Power and Xcel Energy and everybody else is asking for a 10% raise. Well, what happened to
The rebate.
yeah. that doesn't show anywhere.
Went to the country clubs.
Yeah. Well, it went to the shareholders.
Didn't show up on my div, no it didn't.
Well,
No, it
that's what
didn't.
they said.
Well, I've lost $9 share on Elite
I
lately.
just looked it up today. Shareholders and people are gonna get this money, all this money from them not paying any corporate tax. Well, yeah, right.
Okay, anything else?
No, I don't have nothing.
Get off, you got your soapbox going now. Okay, just one thing, we did have the Truth in Taxation meeting, and I did state it to the people that were here, and I'm gonna state it to the people out there right now, is that we're gonna work very diligently at getting this levy back down to a reasonable amount, if not back to the last year's amount. I am meeting tomorrow, Ryan and I are attending a meeting, and then we'll probably have some other meetings after that, trying to tighten up that budget that we have to make sure that we're giving you the best service, the bang for the buck, I guess. So that's what we're gonna do with that. And then, unfortunately, we had kind of our first blizzard of the season, and we gave out a bunch of tickets today, so I wish to remind those that are having those vehicles just staying there, they're going to be towed. They're gonna be towed, and you're gonna be responsible for that, so, and we'll probably be towing sometime next week already.
Yeah, we try to give residents the benefit of the doubt, but if you leave it there and it's buried in snow, we gotta get it out of there.
So we're looking at that. We cannot have our emergency vehicles in any way having problems trying to get to an emergency, whether it be fire, ambulance, sheriff, anyone, law enforcement, whomever. So we are going to be diligent with that, and hopefully these that got the tickets right off the bat now will be more diligent, and those that you've seen the cars around, and trailers. I don't know why there's trailers on the street, but those are going to be towed first, I would assume. So that's all I have, and with that
The other thing is, they were supposed to move their cars starting in November. We basically don't enforce the law until we have snow, and we've said that every year for every year. We give you a break until now it's interfering with our functions. Well, now you're gonna pay.
well, now they got tickets and maybe a towing expense added to that. So a good point, John. Okay, with that, is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Stuart. Is there support? Support by Jim. All those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Meeting adjourned.